Well, this is nuts. Guaranteed 100%. You thought you knew what a mega dungeon was. We had mega dungeons in Legion with Karazhan. We had mega dungeons in BFA with MegaDungeon.
Sure.
We even had a mega dungeon in Shadowlands.
Yeah, the weird ass market from the future in the cosmos, the universe, from a galaxy far, far away.
That's where I get my cucumbers from. But that's not the point. The point is we're gonna have, I think, the most craziest and biggest and most lore-filled mega dungeon in the history of World of Warcraft, in the Dawn of the Infinite Mega Dungeon, which comes out in
10.15, the not really main patch, but the amount of content that's gonna come with the 10.15 Fractures in Time patch kind of makes it feel like it's a real content. Outside of everything else that we'll eventually cover on the channel, the actual dungeon itself, in the kind of the scope and the story and the characters in it, feels like kind of like a raid level, like fantasy dungeon, right? Obviously it's gonna be like 5-man, but dude,
it's still gonna involve a lot of characters from the past, which got us giga hyped. Obviously it will still be a dungeon. We cannot really tell how everything is gonna play out apart from what we can read up from the dungeon general, but things like the dragon aspects, Fyrakk, the blue chick, Razaget in their primordial form. So this fight, the Blight of Galakrond, where basically we know that Galakrond eats a lot of dragons, and then he tends to
vomit them back in undead
them
form.
out. And because of the necromantic magic that's going on over there, we have the initial primordial version of Fyrakk, Razaget, and the blue one. So we get to see that. The interesting factor here is that Iridikron, the current Iridikron that we know, goes back in there for some weird reason. I don't know. Maybe he wants some of that necromantic magic from Galakrond.
That's dope because so we're fighting in the Mega Dungeon. We're actually fighting present Iridikron that for whatever reason is going back.
We don't know why. It's kind of interesting, but we do see Galakrond. Well, we see its head. Okay, and let me tell you, you think Flame has a big head? let me pull up.
It's not even close, man. Can you find a hat for this? This is huge.
Look at that.
But this is really cool because we know from Chronicles and all that the Galakrond was like a massive dragon. Plus we have its skeleton in Dragonflight in Northrend. But obviously we're not gonna fight it. Hopefully maybe one day. But this is huge. This is like Colossus style.
This covers basically a quarter in Stormwind. This basically trade district is basically the head of Galakrond. Yeah, thanks to Ellie from Twitter. Like she made this comparison to see the size and scope of the head of Galakrond. Now listen, Blizzard have stated that we're not going to fight Galakrond, so obviously that will be like the dead form of Galakrond, which we'll encounter.
Maybe it's a tease for future.
But yeah, we don't actually know if we're gonna fight him like per se with somewhere at one point in the expansion. That would be very cool. I don't know how they would do that visually. Hopefully not another 8.3, not 8.3, Cataclysm 4.3. What was it called? The Deathwing fight. That was, it was a big dragon again, but it wasn't that good. But if we're gonna fight him, I think it would be a big fan service. I would definitely.
If we're gonna actually fight, well, phase 1 we fight its foot, phase 2 we fight its tail, because it's so big, man.
Maybe there's gonna be some sort of like interesting magic, but the gist of the dungeon is like we're going back into different periods of time and see different moments and different alternative histories that happen. One other cool thing is where we kind of like get to split Alliance and Horde, and based on what we're gonna be, what faction we're gonna be in, we're either going to fight Andui Lothar, like if we're gonna be Horde, we're gonna fight him and his band, or we're gonna fight Grommash.
Oh shit, dude, Grommash is like the baddest orc, and they've actually used, I think, the World's Draenor model and just green skin, which I think is pretty cool. It's pretty badass on and of its own. Oh yeah. But this is like...
So if I'm Alliance, I'm gonna fight Grommash. You're gonna be Horde. You're gonna fight Andui Lothar, man. I mean, that's iconic.
Pretty epic. I mean, these are like crucial parts in Warcraft history, and I think this all started in okay, if we're gonna do like time travel or different realities, I think this is the best way to do it, because we've seen from leveling in Thaldraszus with the Chromie's fight with maybe future Chromie, who knows, infinite Chromie. We went back in time to, you know, N'Zoth and all of that Black Empire, and now we're probably extending that type of concept where we're fighting different realities and different versions of different bosses from different times. I think this is a really cool way to kind of put in all of this juice, man, all of these cool characters.
Yeah, and you mentioned Chromie. We're also gonna fight a version of Chromie, which is very goth. Her name will be Morchi. It's another version of Chromie on a different timeline, obviously. And what's really cool is like when you do like the quest on the PTR leading up to like the dungeon and stuff, you get to see other versions of Chromie, which are hilarious.
Like the parallel universe.
Yeah.
Multiverse of Chromie.
Yeah, you're gonna see Cowmie, which is the torrent Chromie. You're gonna see like the bird form of Chromie, which is Chromie.
Oh, that's that. All right.
It's the huge Chromie. So it's really fun in that sense. They still keep in their sense of humor over there. But the fight from the dungeon will be with the actual like quote unquote evil Chromie, which is very goth, and you can see the model over there. It's a very emo, different version of her. Very important. This is not the future Chromie. So
no.
Very important to know that this is not like oh my god, this is how it's gonna end up because of the infinite Dragonflight.
From the dungeon journal, we know that Morchi is basically from a timeline where Murozond actually came to power, aka Nosdormu, the corrupted infinite Nosdormu. Which all of this is kind of like infinite, but that's not the point. The point is it's gonna be dope, man.
Yeah, this is one interesting and very exciting place to be and get to meet once again some of these iconic characters. There's another character over there, a very interesting Tyr is there. And it's the infinite version of Tyr, which if you look at the color palette, very necromantic indeed, my friend.
I saw the model, because it's been like, if you do the story in Thaldraszus, there's a lot of hints that, you know, was Tyr really okay? Did he like dupe the aspects?
Well, this is another version of him, obviously, but having like, you know, basically the forefather of paladins looking like this with it looks very necromantic. Okay, if you look at this, you think of Shadowlands, you think of the jailer, a lot of dead stuff happening over there.
I'm curious if that's gonna be like his fight. We know a couple of abilities, I think.
Well, listen, all of the things that are available on the PTR, so from the dungeon journal, will be changed at some point.
Yeah, for sure.
The thing is, we cannot really like make any assumption or speculation on how everything is going to play out. We're just like giga hyped, but because all of these characters are in there, and in terms of like the scope of this, because it does feel like they introduced these characters because they want to push some story forward.
Well, obviously, like the last boss, Deos, is the last boss of Uldaman that we actually never killed because he TPs away. So that story that essentially started with him, I think he's trying to like steal some of the Titan discs or whatever to probably kind of push this infinite timeline into our own. So finally we can get some actual story, because we always think it's like, oh, will Nosdormu turn evil or not? Will he not? Will he? It's like, oh, ever since I think Wrath, when it was introduced with like
I think they want to make okay, we're speculating here, but because of this MegaDungeon, they will probably want to weave in a story where we actually prevent the future Nosdormu and actually have
that would be cool, because
this character, I mean, sure, the thing is we already know what's gonna happen to Nosdormu. We know he's gonna become evil and all of that. But if they manage to make it the story within the dungeon after completing it or having some extra quest after completing it to just conclude in the fact that, okay, we prevented all of the twists of the infinite Dragonflight and Nosdormu is still a good guy. However, we have, I don't know, Galakrond and you know, folks from like the primordial aspects becoming like super huge, because I strongly believe maybe Galakrond is actually looking for some necromantic source of power and resurrect, because we talked about the speculation of having some sort of power to resurrect Galakrond, and in order to do that you would need like super huge amounts of necromantic magic.
They could definitely work that in, because now we don't have a Lich King, which Lich King was kind of the conduit of necromantic magic within Azeroth, so they could do something with that to kind of like explain like where Galakrond is getting all this necromantic magic. And let's be honest, if we're gonna have a Dragonflight expansion, how are we not going to approach the Galakrond concept? Because Galakrond is such a cool character that it's kind of just a bad vibe, a bad taste to feel like, oh, it just died like 10,000 years ago.
Yeah, and within the game, we never really got to experience anything Galakron-ish, like hands-on, right? We only heard stories, we only like read it from the books and stuff, but it's a very good premise for a badass, deep, not demon, and a badass evil
dragon.
Yeah, basically your villain, I would say.
An actual evil dragon that's not corrupted by old gods. Can we please?
Yeah, can we have that? It's very exciting to like get this. I don't know when this is gonna be up on the PTR. It's not yet playable.
Definitely gonna test it.
But yeah, you can be sure that we're gonna have first-hand looks on the dungeon, how it plays out, and of course, there's also gonna be guides for it as well. But up until that point, we're just super excited because of all of the characters we're going to meet and like relive alternate histories with these and just geek out on all of them.
So much potential even for gear and characters and transmogs and all that for people who like collect stuff, because we know that Mega Dungeons have historically been a good source of cosmetics, mounts, especially with the hard mode and stuff, so they can do a lot of cool stuff with it.
Yep. So let us know what you think in the comments. Are you excited about this? Are you excited to fight Andui Lothar or fight again Chromie in some capacity? How about seeing all of the versions of Chromie and all of that? Tyr being like necromantic and stuff, the head of Galakrond just looking at you like that. it's exciting, man. Let us know what you think.
It's good stuff.
Thank you, Patrons, for supporting the content. Hope you enjoyed this. Check the link in the description for more details. See you very, very soon. Bye.
Take it easy. Bye-bye.
I'm out.
I've been loving it then, I still love it now. Still, I play WoW. Still, I play WoW. Getting better every day, let me show you how. Cause still, I play WoW. Still, I play WoW. It's getting harder to stay, but at the end of the day, it's a guilty pleasure, so just log in and play. Whether it's classic or retail, I'ma do a /bow. Still, I play WoW.